problems in phonetic analysis. Here, in the problem of phonetic analysis, we're going to have some difficulties about the phonology of English. First, we are going to be working with the problem of analysis. Different writers produce different analyses of the phonemic system of English. It is clear that phonetic analysis is not as clear as studying the letters of the alphabet. The second area of difficulty will be called the problem of assignment. We can find many cases where it is difficult to assign a particular speech sound to a particular phoneme. Problem of analysis. The affricate t and z are phonetically composed of a plosive followed by a fricative. It is possible to treat each of pair t and z as a single consonant phoneme, and it is also possible to say that are composed of two phonemes, and each either already established as independent phonemes of English. We call the two phonemes analysis of ch and z. One argument could be called phonetic or allophonic. In fact, there is some allophonic evidence that support the two phoneme analysis. We can find this in the occurrence of glottalization. If we add glottalization of P, T, K, and Z in RP, we find the pattern occurrence. One consonant phoneme occurring medially, there is no glottalization is found. Two consonants phoneme occurring medially, the glottalization is normal. Z occurring medially, the glottalization is normal after a stressed syllable. It could be argued that the proposed phoneme of t and z have distribution similar to other consonants, and the other consonants of plosive plus fricative do not. However, several consonants are accepted as phonemes or RP despite not being free to occur in all positions. We are able to combine quite freely with other consonants to form consonant clusters. This will support the one phoneme analysis. Initial t and z would have to be interpreted as initial t plus post-initial z, with the result as the post-initial set of consonants will have to contain L, R, W, J, and also Z. There are consonants which are rather different from the other four, and which could only combine with T and V. And finally, it has been suggested that if native speakers of English who have not been taught phonetics feel that t and z are each one sound. The problem with this is that discovering what untrained or native speakers feel about their own language is not as easy as it might sound. Okay, let's continue with problem of assignments. Assignment has already been encountered. We saw how, although E and I are clearly distinct in most contexts, there are other contexts where we find a sound which cannot clearly be said to belong to one or other of these two phonemes. The analysis of English vowel contains a large number of phonemes, and it is not surprising that some phonologists propose different analyses, which contain less than 10 vowel phonemes, and treat all long vowels and diphthongs as composed of two phonemes each. There are different ways of doing this. One way is to treat long vowels and diphthongs as composed of two vowels. If we start with a set of basic vowels phonemes, e, a, it will then be possible to make up long vowels by using vowels twice. Another way of doing this kind of analysis is to treat long vowels and diphthongs as composed of a vowel plus a consonant. This may seem a less obvious way of proceeding, but it was for many years the choice of most. Diphthongs and long vowels are now of exactly the same phonological composition. An important point about this analysis is that JWH do not otherwise occur finally in the syllable. There are many other ways of analysis the very complex vowel system of English, some of which are extremely ingenious. Each has its own advantages and disadvantages. The syllabic consonants are a problem. They are phonologically different from their non-syllabic counterparts. One possibility is to add new consonant phonemes in our list. We could invert the phonemes L, R, N, etc. The distribution of these consonants would be rather limited, but the main problem would be fitting them into the pattern of syllable structure. We use the term neutralization for the cases where contrast between the phonemes, which exist in other places in the language, particularly with words like spill, steal, skill. Nasals. The basic characteristic of nasal is that the air escapes through the nose. For this to happen, the soft palate must be lowered. In this case, all of the other consonants and vowels of English. The soft palate is raised and air cannot pass through the nose. If you produce a long sequence of dien, 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 without moving your tongue from the position of alveolar closure, you will feel your soft plate moving up and down. There are three types of closure. One is the bilabial, that are the lips. The second is the alveolar, that is the tongue blade against the alveolar ridge. And the third one is the velar, back of the tongue against the plate. As you can see in this image, we can see the three parts of the nasals. Bilabial, like mode, alveolar, neck, and velar, sung. In initial, we find M and occurring freely, but N never occurs in this position. With the possible exception, this makes the only English consonant that doesn't occur initially. Here we have some examples with the BBC pronunciations finger and singer, anger and hanger. At the end of the words ending orthographically with ng. We also can find ends with n, and these are never followed by a vowel. And as we know, rulers often have their exceptions. We have morphemes-based rule concerns with the comparative and superlative suffixes er and est. And intonation. Okay. Intonation helps to express emotion and attitudes as we speak, and this adds a special kind of meaning to the spoken language. This is often called the attitudinal function of intonation. Then we have the intonation that helps to produce the effect of prominent syllables that need to be perceived as stressed, and in particular the placing of tonic stress on a particular syllable that marks out the word to which belongs as the most important in the tone unit. In this case, intonation works to focus attention on a particular lexical item or syllable. After this, the listener is better able to recognize the grammar and the syntaxis structure of what is being said and using the information contained in the intonation. For example, such things as the placement of boundaries between phrases, clauses, or sentences. The difference between question and statement and the use of grammatical subordination might be indicated. This has been called the grammatical function of intonation.